All great novels have this one thing in common. Tune into this video to find out what that is.
And Bruce Welcome to
Here we go. Hi guys, welcome back to another video with Jazz and Prose. Today we're doing something a little different. Today we're going into the pages of a book and we're going to be talking about character development. Okay, if you guys don't know, I am an author myself. Okay, I know you're probably used to me on the other side interviewing other authors, but today we're going to use my expertise as an author, talking about character development and why they are that's so important to a great book. Okay, so you might want to get your pens and pencils and notebooks out so you can take some notes, honey child. So my novel, Mad Justice, when I came up with the idea for this book, it was many moons ago. Um, I was a married woman, and the idea came to me from the perspective of a married woman. Okay. So I'm not gonna go into details and give things away. You guys have to read the book. Um, and I'm sure after you read the book, you'll have questions about, oh my God, how did you come up with this? Whose side were you on? That kind of thing. Um, but today I kind of want to get into characters and I'm going to focus on Eric. Okay. Eric is an 18-year-old boy who is from a low income. So socioeconomics is a huge factor in my book. When it came to developing my characters, I really had to think about their backgrounds, their financial accessibility, like how much money did they have. Um, so Eric, which is the guy that we're focusing on today, he's 18. He's from the inner city. His mother works two jobs just to put food on the table and provide shelter for him and his younger sister, who's in elementary school. And he is kind of like the man of the family. You know, their father is not in the picture. Um, he tragically passed away. Um, and I thought it was important to, portray and show families that are urban, inner city, and it's not like the dad just took off and he's not there. Um, there are circumstances where people pass and you still have to provide for your family. So that's Eric's background, but he's 18. He's about to, you know, a lot of kids when they're within the time frame of, it's time for them to leave the home for whatever reason, whether it be financial or health reasons, they're in a position where do I stay close to home to help my family or do I take this opportunity? So Eric is growing up in the inner city, you are around kids who may not have a family like your family. So one of his friends, Fetty, name was purposely chosen for that. He's a drug dealer and he's the same age. They grew up, you know, from kids together, but he's older now and he's made his choices. He's known. Fetty's been doing this. He has money. Um and he's always offered Eric work if he ever needed work. He knows him. It's different when you know a person from the sandbox and you guys grow up, even if you're not into that lifestyle. You guys have some sort of respect and connection. Eric is, he has it in him. He has it in him, but his mother, he thinks about all that his mother has done for him to give him the type of life that she wished she could get for him. She gave him the opportunities as far as education to be able to get him out of the, hood. And so he carries that with him. He carries a lot of stress and as an 18-year-old boy who, you know, you're in a situation where do you leave your little sister And your mother, who you know she works two jobs, who's going to be with your little sister when you leave, right? So I think for authors, our job is to push our characters to the wall. What are they going to do if they're put in a situation where they have to make a choice? You know, we all make choices, and I think knowing a character's, excuse me, backstory really does matter as far as, um, why are they doing what they're doing. And characters, I love a good character. I love a character that was well thought out. And it has to make sense based on who you've been telling us all along this character is. You know, does it make sense? But then again, why did they make that choice? You know? And a lot of people are probably asking, um, as far as research for this character. So I'm from New Orleans, and I'm gonna let my New Orleans accent come out right now. Okay. So I'm from New Orleans, baby. And I remember, I went to school with a Eric. I went to school with a Fetty, So I have the background knowledge. I have the experience. I was sitting in class with these people. Okay. I remember, in New Orleans, it was real. I went to a good school, but I lived in a neighborhood, 8 ward, that was not so great. Hearing them gunshots, baby. So I have that background knowledge, and I remember, I never forget, we was at the gas station, and a YN came up. My mama was getting gas. Me and my little brother was in a car, and he came up, and he took like something off the tire, and he was like telling me like, be quiet, don't tell your mama. And I didn't say nothing, baby. Okay. Baby, I was like, you ain't gotta worry about me. Cause I was scared. I was terrified, being a little girl in New Orleans. And but I do have that accent. This is how I really talk, guys, but you know, I have that accent every now and then, it'll come out. Usually if I'm mad or something. But so yeah, I went to school with an Eric. I went to school with the Fetty. I have this background knowledge. I think as a writer, that's one of the greatest gifts, is going through certain things and you can apply that to your writing. Okay, it's kind of hard to talk with that mic. Plus, I have things that I need to show you. So when I was writing Mad Justice, I um, did a lot of research, a ton of research, especially because the setting was in a place that I didn't live. So I had to do a lot of research. Ugh, grab some of my files. I'm gonna get that off when I come back. So I'll kind of show you guys this paper here. Okay, and I'll probably put it in. But I have character profiles for each of my characters. So I have things like character appearance. I have their height, width, weight, eyes, age, hair color, skin color, other. So I had like, one had a birthmark, just more descriptions of how they looked. Then we had character background. So we had things like birth, education, marital status, the class, socioeconomics. So yeah, guys, Mad Justice is going to be out October 2025. I really hope you guys will go and check it out. I can't wait to have conversations after you guys start reading it. But yeah, so character development, they have to have a background, they have to have a backstory. That's how your readers are going to connect with them. So have a character profile. Okay, go on our website, Jazz and Prose, so you can download some questions that you can use when you're creating your characters. Thank you guys for watching Jazz and Prose, and we'll see you in the next video.